Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Atlas, back in with some more cryptocurrency news and technical analysis for you guys today. If you're new to the channel, it is very nice to meet you guys. Hopefully you enjoy yourselves. If you do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up like button, guys. We're trying to get to at least 50 likes on this video, and it honestly really helps us out a lot. And if you want to be alerted of all the latest news and everything that's going on with crypto, trying to keep you up to date with things, make sure you guys click that bell icon. So we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Orchid, and also what is called NuCypher. This is a pretty new cryptocurrency to come over to Coinbase, and some big explosive moves going on with that. First thing we're going to go ahead and dive into is what's going on with Bitcoin. Market wrap. Bitcoin dips below $19,000 as Ether options volumes drops. Some Bitcoin selling on Friday caused its price to decline. Ether options trading appears less inclined to place bets on the asset's price, as evidenced by lower deribit volume. Bitcoin below its 10-day and 50-day moving average, a bearish signal for market technicians. What I thought was interesting when they identified with this, you can see these icons right here for the candles. It's being labeled. Oh, it's probably because they're actually referencing off a Bitstamp now that I think about it. Because if you look over on the Coinbase side, although it shouldn't really be that big of a discrepancy. Looking over here, I'm referencing Bitcoin on this chart with that of Coinbase, as you can see in the top left-hand corner up there. And this golden line is now represented as the 50-day moving average. I normally use this as a 21-day moving average, but to clarify today, what I'm showing with you guys is the 50-day moving average, and that reddish line down on the bottom is the 200-day moving average. I'll explain that more later on, but as you guys can see, we've been above this entire time for the 50-day moving average. So as far as Coinbase goes, I'm not sure what they're referencing over there, but I got my 50-day moving average right over on the top-hand side, and it still shows an establishment up above. So overall, we're still bullish in that regards. But aside from that, other things that this article identifies as low spot volumes on CoinDesk 20 exchanges are plaguing the market for the third day in a row, with Friday's $973 million in daily volume as of press time, lower than Thursday's $1.1 billion in daily volume and Wednesday's $1.3 billion in trading activity across the 8 major exchanges. Some tax-related profit taking might be in store for the balance of December, added Edgerton, I'm not sure how to say his name. We're also getting to the point where investors in the US start to review their portfolios from a tax optimization point of view, which could lead to selling pressure in the US over the next few weeks. The interest is to sell in a strong market in order to reduce their negative market impact, he said. But as the market looked weak, they may not sell right now. What do you guys think about this? More Bitcoin is going into exchanges than coming out, at least according to Glassnode data. While traders plan to do with those balances is anyone's guess, but Exo Alpha's Lay Rest also reiterated the potential for December profit taking. Quote, after a torrid bull run, a sideways or even a 15% pullback is definitely expected before a new bull run can take place, La Rest added. Volumes are decreasing and implied volatility is dropping. There is no clear decisiveness at the moment, Magadini told CoinDesk. Traders are taking a wait-and-see approach right now in the Ethereum options market, Magadini added. He noted that traders aren't even all that interested in downside protection in the form of put options. That's an indicator that many options traders expect Ether's price to bounce back up. As Ethereum retraces below $600, no one is enthusiastic about buying puts, he said. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I find it pretty interesting, but like a significant drop down at this point in time, 15% or so. We already had a bit of a pullback that took place around the Thanksgiving time. So if you just want my personal opinion, because disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, but having a significant drop at this point, I think is only to be expected if we do continue to move further sideways. There is that potential of loss of confidence of trying to break above that 20K. And if some big whales decide to start dropping it, it could end up dropping pretty heavy. So right now we're $18,620. We're still above $18,500, which is great. We still got a little bit of ways to go to get past that 20K mark, but we're hanging in there. It's not everybody just selling. We're not seeing a $5,000 price drop, a $10,000, you know, like a 50% retracement taking place with this stuff. Or even worse when 20K happened 2017. And so a lot of people are still looking at this and saying, look, man, if I get it at this price, even if it goes up to $100,000, it's not that much of a difference between the things. And so it's a long-term goal Some people want to try and accrue more, obviously, and some people are trying to take profits. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below with that. Next up, the OCC chief hints at coming good actions on crypto by end of Trump's term. This is pretty vague, but it did sound like they're trying to do what they can to keep this in a positive light. So let's go ahead and talk about what the quotes are from this. I don't think we need 50 regulations, but what we do need is clarity about what's allowed, he said. Brooks cited banks plugging, quote, directly into blockchains as payment networks as one place where the answer has to be yes. It may have been a bubble 2 years ago, but with more clarity, institutions that see this as a real thing are going to adopt at scale, which they've already started to do so, Brooks said. He said regulatory clarity are the things that are driving prices at this point. We're very focused on getting this right. We're very focused on not killing this, and it's equally important that we develop the networks behind Bitcoin and other cryptos as it is that we prevent money laundering and terrorism financing. So believe me, there's a balance here, and it's going to work for everybody, he said. So it sounds like he's really adamant about the idea that this is going to be good things coming. We'll have to wait and see more of what they plan on doing, but they said before the end of Trump's term. So this guy right here, even he believes that Trump is not going to be sworn into office, and he's not going to have a second term going on here. It's going to be moving over to Biden. So keep that in mind for one thing. But that's going to be less than 2 months away, right? Got a little bit over a month left. I think it's 5 weeks, something like that. Yeah, like 5 more weeks or so. Next up, Bitcoin price rally at risk is gold and US dollar show signs of recovery. So another potential reason why things could be going down is related to the gold industry. The gold industry itself has already seen a pullback. It's been an 80-day pullback period, more specifically. So now that those hands are being shaken out, the idea is that there's a higher probability now that a gold is going to go on a rally. So maybe people are going to reallocate their funds away from cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically and pushing that over towards the gold industry. Quoted here from Tapiero, people got some crazy names. Very bullish for gold. Largest ever 3-week liquidation just occurred. Weak hands cleaned out. $25 billion went into EM equity, much more into US equity. Only $8 billion out of gold, many tiny amounts into Bitcoin. Bitcoin not yet big enough to be a macro asset class, but coming soon. Some might consider the recovery of gold a positive factor for Bitcoin in the medium term. Since more investors are starting to acknowledge Bitcoin as a store of value, the uptrend of gold could benefit the cryptocurrency. Do you guys think that there's a good chance that if gold actually starts to go back up, we could see a correlation and Bitcoin could also start to move up too for that very purpose, the idea of it being a store of value? Or do you think that, yeah, people are going to be moving their funds away? If you want my personal opinion, if gold starts to rally up, it's not a guarantee that it's going to move with this. I think there's too many outside factors that go in, a lot of correlation that took place with the stock market, and then it decouples sometimes. And so to say that it's reliably like, oh yeah, gold's going to go up, well, Bitcoin's going to go up too. It's not a reliable thing to say. And I think your guess is as good as mine. If I had to lean one direction, I'd be leaning a little bit more towards that. Yeah, I think it could go up. The U.S. stock market is continuing to rally due to unprecedented liquidity from the central bank. The combination of average inflation and relaxed financial conditions have been pushing stocks to all-time highs. At the moment, many traders believe that Bitcoin is at risk of seeing a deeper pullback to $18,600 following its recent rejection. That was as of the time of them publishing this article earlier today. And as of right now, we're now in the new daily candle. It's 4:22 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when I'm recording this. And the price of Bitcoin is at $18,604. As I'm looking over here on this other chart, it's $18,600. Oh, now it shows $18,604 on this side right here too. So interesting. Michael van de Popp, a full-time trader at the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, said that Bitcoin's fall from $19,100 with a strong reaction from sellers makes a larger drop likely. He wrote, couldn't break through $19,400 is a crucial breaker, after which a drop occurred towards $18,800. $19,100 area instantly rejected, and the likelihood of a drop towards $18,600 increases. Well, yeah, I mean, we're right there. And you actually go look at this a little bit more definitively, because now we're done with the articles for the day. Nothing too super massive, but I wanted to cover still some major key points with you guys in those regards, especially when we talk about what's going on with Bitcoin, the granddaddy of them all, right? Excuse me. So for the day's range, if you guys see right above my head right here, you can actually see on the left-hand side, 18,501, literally exactly according to TradingView in reference to the Coinbase side, $18,501 was the bottom level of support, and then it bounced off. We've seen as high so far of 18,696. So we're in a median range. Obviously, it's only been 23 minutes, so expecting that much movement in such a short amount of time on a new daily candle shouldn't be expected, but we are expecting some higher levels of volatility to occur here pretty soon. We had a major reactive moment took place over on November 26th, and that was a large red candle. Last time that we had a major significant green candle for former recovery was on November 30th, and you could see that that was quite progressive. It actually pushed us up towards that 20K range, just barely underneath it. But the next day was actually followed with more volume that was actually progressed in the red. It wasn't, it was slightly deeper, but it reclaimed itself back up. So it had corrected the entire thing as if it was one giant pump and dump situation from one day to the next. And with where we're at currently right now, we are slightly in the red. We'll have to continue to gauge this out. An immediate concern I would have would be off of that 50-day moving average. We can change this to a 21 EMA if we really need to, but we've been staying consistently above the 21 EMA. If you guys have seen my other videos, we're quite a bit of a ways above the 21 EMA, up above it. So I wouldn't cause any concern for that at the moment. So looking at this for the 50-day moving average, which is this golden line, and that red line on the bottom is the 200-day moving average. And you can also confirm this up in that top left-hand side there. This is important because these two times are typically used for what's called a golden cross or a death cross. And we have been in a golden cross position ever since back on May 21st. So keep that in mind. When that golden line, the short time frame, the 50-day, went over the long time frame, and you're finding the averages between these two, the shorter time frame, if it is moving up, it crosses that line, it's a sign of a more longer term bullish movement. But the trend has changed. So at some point they start to correct, they cross over, and then you have a death cross, and then it goes down, right? So in this instance, we've been in the good zone for quite a while here. There was a point where right around July 25th, they started to near one another, but then another rally took place and that gap started to widen again with the 50-day moving average. And then we had a massive drop that took place on September 2nd. And that time period, as this curvature started to shift, we saw them once again right around October 22nd, getting closer to the point, but a correction once again started to continue to shift as this rally actually really started to push itself around October 7th. So that slight little bit of delay started to see a shift and then became more progressive, and we're seeing that momentum pushing up higher and higher and higher. We are very close to this new all-time high unanimously across all the different exchanges. We know that some of the exchanges have hit above that, and that's great, but it was only up above by like this much, you know, just barely going above. It's like, hey, world record for most points in a game, 100, Wilt Chamberlain, right? It's like, okay, well, if you hit 101, yeah, it's a big deal. You set a new world record. But at the same time, too, other people might look at that and be like, okay, you hit a new world record by one more. So it's a matter of perspective how you look at it. If you're looking for a massive gain, really setting a brand new precedence, then we should smash through this $20,000 level. If we hit $25,000, a quarter of the way to that 100K mark, right? Which is, the 100K is going to be a very big psychological point because now you're talking about a six-figure number. Going from 10,000, okay, now we hit 5 digits. Now we go to 100,000. Wow, we're in the 6-digit range. Berkshire Hathaway, right? It's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for their stock. And then next thing is it goes into the millions, right? So the people start to believe more of the reality of this the higher that it goes up. And people keep thinking, they're like, well, it's too overpriced. It's too overpriced. It's too overpriced. But then other people say, like, the price is going up and I don't want to keep missing this opportunity. I see the future and I see what the opportunity is with this, and I'd rather have it now than later. And people get it. And now there's less that's available and other people have to pay more. So you get the point. So yeah, correction can take place for sure. Overall, from the signs that I'm seeing, I'm still bullish on this momentum taking place. On the daily right here, you can see that there was a bit of a dip down, a further continuation up. I am curious to see how this progresses to move, because if it does have a little bit of a retracement back down, I wouldn't necessarily say from where it is currently at the moment, because it's not a strong enough position really down for me to consider it as a large indicating head pattern on a head and shoulder. But if it was to pull down roughly to about this point, around the 17,570 range, and then have another continuation up, testing that 20K, and then a pullback once again, then this would more largely be describing itself as a head and shoulders pattern. And something of that magnitude, we could then potentially see levels from the top here down to that base, and a further drop taking place might lead it to around a bottom of under $15,000, and that would actually pull it below that 50-day moving average as well. And that could start to shift the paradigm, especially as this 200-day moving average, which is obviously a little bit of a lagging indicator because it's covering so many days. As this starts to progress up and this one progresses down, the more likely of them to coinciding. But a large drop like this could start to shift this direction quite substantially, and lead more towards another long-term bear market, depending on how the transition of power goes with Biden, what Trump is doing in his administration, the things that were mentioned earlier. We got a lot of unanswered questions, other countries and how they're doing regulations, how the exchanges are going to be moving forward, and all that news. So there's lots of stuff that could technically take place. And the further you try to predict in the future, which I don't think it's a good idea that you predict anyways, if you want to try and forecast things, okay, but the more chances you have of making mistakes. So I would just kind of keep an air of caution with this and evaluate it. Personally, I don't see this going down substantially right now, but if new information comes out that throws a big wrench into the equation people weren't expecting, well then of course it can end up crashing super hard. But when you look at it from a fundamental standpoint, I don't expect it to go much lower, just like how some of the other people were looking at the $18,600 range. So if it can maintain itself with this and it starts to rally back up to $19,000, I think Monday could be a very valuable time. A lot of times on the weekend, it tends to be pretty quiet with things. And if it can break above $19,000 on an opening day with Monday, volatility, I would expect something big to take place that day, because it's already been going on for about a week or so now of having calmed down. We saw a little bit of a sell-off here today, but a bit of sideways action kind of forming within this consolidated space right through in here, as you guys can see. Okay, now let's go and take a look at OXT briefly, and then we're going to go into what is this thing called again? NuCypher. Next thing we do is talk about NuCypher. So Orchid. Yesterday, I tweeted about this, and guys, my name is Atlas Official TV on Twitter if you want to check me out. And lo and behold, you got all these people that really try to pump the idea of Orchid on Twitter. And again, I would love for Orchid to do really well. I own a lot of it, but I'm trying to be a realist, and I don't want to create all this false hope. I don't want to have people lose confidence in the validity of the information that I share and my point of views. I want people to be strengthened in the idea that I try to be impartial and just simply look at the facts and then be able to make an adequate decision off of that. So based on that, I said that this major run had happened in such a short amount of time. We've had such an explosive growth that we are overdue for a movement up in a large continuation. But I'm still cautious of this, and I'm concerned that it was going to have another major dump. And so I didn't buy anymore. I bought on the dip when it pulled back down below. I was able to get that, and then that rally started to take place. And lo and behold, we go over here on the 15-minute time frame, actually, wait, should we go on the 1 hour? Let's see. Let's go on the 1 hour. Yeah, that looks a little bit better there. As you guys can see on the 1 hour, you had a large progressive movement up. This pushed it all the way up to around the 35-cent range, and then came all the way back down and then filled the entire space. Like literally almost came down to the exact bottom. Then another further rally up, massive sell off, and then all the way down, filling in all that space again. Pushed up, came down, further correction down. Came up, and then pulled all the way back, almost down to the bottom of that again. And then now it's trying to rally back up again. So whenever we're having these large candles that take place, I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's a bot. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's more coins that is going on to the exchange for circulation, part of the airdrops, or not airdrops, the drops that they talked about from their website, or what it is. But man, it is really hard to get an actual rally going on with this, because as soon as we do, and someone comes in and starts to really pump it, somebody else immediately sells it off. Goes all the way up here, sells all the way back down, closes out as a negative, has a further correction down the next hour, and then a further correction down the next hour that pulls it almost back to the initial start point. Filled up, pulled back down, pump and dump, pump and dump, pump and dump. You can even see it here, pump and dump, pump and dump, pump and dump. It's like it's a song. So it's very frustrating trying to get that momentum going on with this. I'm hoping that the Windows update comes out soon. I'm hoping that the expansion out from just VPNs, which is their intention of doing, correct, is going to be sooner rather than later. They've already done a lot of good things throughout this year, and I think that the team should be very proud, and I'm proud of them as well. But we need to have something else come in here soon, because otherwise this just seems to be a circulating system for people to do pump and dumps. Off of this 50-day moving average overall, you guys can see we have been in the positive since back on November 29th. Really close call that took place over on December 3rd, and we are still progressively moving up. That gap is starting to widen a little bit more. Hopefully, Orchid is able to have a further continuation up in that space. Now let's go ahead and talk about new. This is very new on Coinbase, no pun intended. And looking at this, you can see that it has had a massive explosive growth, going all the way from down around 10 cents on December 3rd, all the way up to 41 cents, right? But now we've seen a bit of a pullback take place, and I would be very cautious, guys. You see a massive candle, it's much more likely when you're playing the odds that there's going to be a massive candle that fills that and goes back down, because it grew too fast. I'm not saying that that's for sure what's going to happen here. It did just now move over to the exchange. A lot of people seem to be very interested in this cryptocurrency. I still need to learn more about it. And we just swapped over from red to green. But you guys can see, too, the levels of the wicks here. You're going all the way up to 37 cents and then all the way down to 30 cents. So you're talking about a 7-cent difference off of a 30-cent kind of range. And it's been 36 minutes for the new daily candle. So very, very volatile. Be very cautious with something like this, guys. Personally, I am leaning more towards it's going to go in the red, and it's going to fill in quite a bit. But if you want to take a risk with it, the price is still, it's under 50 cents. So I don't know how much you plan on investing something like this. If you're only doing a little bit in it, long term, if it has some substantial growth, then could do something. Let's actually go look at the CoinMarketCap. I want to see what the actual total circulating supply for this is, and just kind of see its position. So let's go, wait, what? I don't want to log in. I just want to search. Okay, looking up NuCypher. NuCypher has a total supply a little bit over 1 billion, which I feel is okay, because Chainlink is 1 billion. You've got Orchid that's 1 billion. This is 1,042,000,000. That's kind of a random number, but okay. Anyways, they've already got 377 million in circulating supply. So quite a substantial amount compared to their total supply, but they got a ways to go. So keep that in mind. As more of the total supply goes into circulating supply, especially if price is not having been moved very much, then it's more likely for the price to start dropping. And just kind of looking at this right now, market cap is over $115 million. They've established themselves pretty well. Their rank is still fairly low, but in comparison to a lot of the other coins, it's considerably high. But it's at 226, so not in the top 100. Even Orchid is holding a position that's close to the $100 range. Sometimes it dips down below. I'll go and take a look to see where it's currently at. Yeah, see, right now it's at 95. Right now it's at 95. $113 million market cap. Let's go back to the other one. 115 million. So it's actually interesting is that at the moment there's more market cap value for NuCypher than there is for Orchid. So that's just a little interesting fact for people to keep in mind. Okay, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. If you're new to the channel and enjoying yourselves, please don't forget, once again, to hit that subscribe button. If you can, hit that thumbs up like button. We're trying to get to at least 50 likes on this video. It would be greatly appreciated. And also click the bell notification so you can be alerted of new videos when they come out. Drop any comments, thoughts, and opinions you guys have in the comments down below. And I will see you guys in the next episode.